At exactly 3:15 a.m., deep inside the Crimean Peninsula, a heavily loaded Russian logistics train roars through the darkness, its steel wheels grinding against the rails as it carries thousands of gallons of aviation fuel toward a fortified military depot. Inside the lead locomotive, the engineer adjusts the cabin heater, gripping a thermos of black tea to push back against the freezing pre-dawn air. His eyes scan the instrument panel, everything steady, everything routine. Outside, the world is pitch black, silent, familiar. This is a route he has run dozens of times. A critical artery feeding the southern front, and tonight feels no different from any other quiet, uneventful mission. Hundreds of kilometers away, nearly 400 kilometers from that moving train, senior Russian commanders sleep without concern. They trust completely in the layered shield of air defense systems blanketing the region, a network of advanced radars, automated anti-aircraft batteries, and electronic warfare units that, until now, have never failed. Confidence is absolute. The system is believed to be untouchable, but what the engineer sipping tea cannot see, and what those sleeping generals never anticipated, is that a coordinated swarm of Ukrainian strike drones has already slipped past the outermost, invisible boundary. The first defensive ring has been breached, and in precisely 1 hour and 12 minutes, that illusion of total security will be shattered, violently, exposing a fatal truth. Even the most expensive defense systems in the world have blind spots if you know exactly where to find them. Before we go further, make sure to hit like and subscribe. It directly supports the channel and helps us keep bringing you these high-impact breakdowns. Now, high above the Black Sea coastline, a silent race against time is unfolding. Ukrainian planners have launched a long-range drone strike package, tasked with traveling 160 kilometers at low altitude and high speed. Their objective is not a stationary target, it is far more difficult. They must intercept a moving fuel train before it reaches the protection of a hardened depot. This is not a simple strike, this is a high-speed interception problem, where timing is everything. If the drones arrive even 4 minutes late, the train will slip behind a secondary defensive layer, electronic warfare barriers, reinforced structures, and concrete shielding that would make a successful strike nearly impossible. The drones themselves are not cutting-edge stealth machines. They are relatively simple, propeller-driven platforms designed for endurance and payload, not invisibility. But what they lack in sophistication, they compensate for with tactical brilliance. Inside a concealed operations bunker, Ukrainian operators are orchestrating a deadly game of geometric precision, calculating speed, fuel burn, trajectory, and even the rotational patterns of Russian radar systems to thread these drones through microscopic gaps in the electromagnetic defense grid. To survive the initial phase, these drones do not rely on advanced stealth coatings or jamming pods. Instead, they exploit something far more fundamental, the shape of the Earth itself. Their route has been carefully mapped using satellite intelligence, guiding them through a narrow valley identified weeks in advance. By flying deep within this terrain corridor, they physically break line of sight with Russian early warning radars positioned on elevated terrain. Radar waves move in straight lines, and no matter how advanced or expensive a system is, it cannot see through solid rock and earth. At just 50 feet above the valley floor, engines echoing off damp stone walls, the drones effectively disappear. To the radar systems sweeping overhead, they simply do not exist. This terrain masking tactic neutralizes some of the most powerful surveillance systems in the Russian arsenal, without firing a single shot or emitting a single electronic signal. But this strategy comes with extreme risk. Flying this low means a single gust of wind, an unseen obstacle, or a miscalculation could end the mission instantly. Still, it is the only viable way to penetrate the outer defensive layer and position the drones for their final approach. When the drones eventually climb out of the valley and briefly re-enter radar coverage, they still do not trigger immediate alarms. This is where the weakness of modern detection systems becomes a weapon. Russian radar is optimized to detect high-speed threats, jets, cruise missiles, using Doppler shift analysis. But these drones are slow and low, appearing nearly identical to birds or ground traffic clutter. The system faces uncertainty. If every slow-moving object triggered alerts, the radar would become unusable, overloaded with false positives. So the software filters them out, discards them, ignores them, and that is exactly what the drone designers intended. Inside a nearby Air Defense Command vehicle, a young radar operator notices a faint, irregular signal. It flickers, appears, disappears. The system flags it as low probability. He reaches for his headset, ready to trigger a full alert, one that would mobilize helicopters and entire command units. But he hesitates, because in a rigid system where false alarms carry consequences, the safest decision is often inaction. He waits, watches, doubts, And in that brief 5-second window of uncertainty, the opportunity is lost. At 4:10 a.m., the drone swarm is now just 45 kilometers from the target. They exit the safety of the valley and enter the most dangerous phase of the mission. Russian electronic warfare systems activate. Massive ground-based jammers flood the airwaves, overwhelming GPS signals with powerful interference. For most drones, this would mean instant failure. But these drones were built for this moment. As GPS signals vanish, onboard systems switch seamlessly to inertial navigation. Internal sensors, gyroscopes and accelerometers take over, tracking motion without external input. It is a system of pure mechanical resilience, but it's not perfect. Tiny errors accumulate, drift builds. Over long distances, even a 1% deviation can mean missing the target entirely. At 4:22 a.m., Russian systems escalate further. They begin GPS spoofing, broadcasting fake signals to deceive the drones into flying off course. But the drones don't trust blindly. Their onboard algorithms cross-check data, detecting impossible changes in speed and altitude. They recognize the deception instantly. The fake signals are rejected. The mission continues. By 4:35 a.m., the drones are within 20 kilometers of the intercept zone, but navigation drift has widened their search area. Autonomous targeting is no longer reliable. Human operators take control. Through encrypted video feeds and thermal imaging, the dark landscape transforms. Cold terrain fades into shadows, while the heat signature of the fuel train burns bright, an unmistakable target cutting through the night. At 4:42 a.m., the operators face a critical decision: wait for the train to stop at the depot, or strike it while moving. They choose the harder option. Destroying it in motion will not only ignite the fuel, but also destroy the railway itself, fusing steel and blocking the route for weeks. But hitting a moving target introduces a new problem: latency. The video feed is delayed. By the time the operator sees the train, it has already moved. They must aim not at where it is, but where it will be. At 4:45 a.m., a Russian point defense system activates. A $15 million system designed for jets and missiles, not low-flying drones. It fires. Tracer rounds fill the air, but the drones are too low. The system physically cannot aim down far enough, and as it continues firing, the barrels overheat, forcing an automatic shutdown. At 4:47 a.m., one drone is destroyed by a defensive missile, but the swarm adapts instantly, dropping lower, spreading out, attacking from multiple angles. The defenses collapse under the pressure. The first drone strikes the locomotive, killing its forward motion. Seconds later, two more hit the fuel cars, and then everything ignites. A chain reaction erupts. Fire spreads violently from one car to the next. Steel tears apart. Fuel explodes into a massive inferno. The night sky lights up in a blinding orange glow, visible for miles. At 4:49 a.m., the final drone, damaged, powerless, glides silently through the smoke and slams into the rear of the train. Right as the burning wreckage begins to derail, crashing into the outer perimeter of the depot, the mission is complete, and the illusion of invincibility is gone.